All right, champion. So first question I have for you is where were you in regards to your strength, your fitness, and your wellness before we started working together?
Yeah, so before, I think in general, I've always been, I thought of myself kind of as like athletic. So I was like not like completely weak, but I definitely was not in, like, I didn't have a fitness routine. I was not like very, I would not say I was fit. I was kind of like lost. Didn't know, I hate like the concept of the gym. Like, I was stressed. I was like for sure the stereotypical, like overwhelmed in a big gym, which is still sometimes the case, but now like I know what I'm doing, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, before I was for sure at the very beginning, I would say, of a long journey.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense, and that totally gels with what you told me when we first met. I remember you said like
Yeah,
you didn't say that you weren't athletic, but you didn't see yourself as like as an athlete,
yeah.
somewhere in between, which was cool. So yeah, to transition, what specific problems, challenges, or struggles were you looking for help with?
Well, yeah, I definitely just like needed. I wanted to get in shape, be like fit, and part of it I think was like I needed to get in a good routine and like not have to think about it because it was just kind of take up like a couple. It was just like too much for me to do, I think, by myself because it seemed like it was like an insurmountable. Like, I was really out of shape, and like I just having kind of like a plan laid out for me like took a one obstacle out of the equation, made it like easy for me to just like get started and show up and kind of move through, knowing that there was someone else kind of invested and involved. Almost like, I can be easy. I can make excuses with myself, but like knowing that someone else is like aware of what the plan is makes me more comfortable.
The next one I have for you is what made you reach out to me and why me over any other coach?
Well, I was lucky that I got kind of matched up with you. So we started in person, and it was kind of just like very impulsive. Like, I knew it was one of those things like I had to take advantage. Like, while I had the thought, I was like, all right, I'm gonna get a, start working with someone one on one. And so I just like submitted a thing to the gym that we started at, and they kind of matched us up, and we met. Um, I forget like what we even did, but there was like kind of like an intro thing, and so we like talked, and like definitely I feel like our like your personality and like approach to how everything was gonna go seemed like it was gonna be uh it was definitely gonna work for me. So like I needed, it was like a good matchup. But like I said, I didn't really make the choice. I got lucky, I guess, in the way that we were paired up, and then it worked well. We were, I don't even know how long, a couple of years we were working together. I don't even know. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think it was almost 2 years because we and the most astounding part of that is that we definitely got off to a great start early on, but then you made more results during the pandemic, which was like when
Mm.
you sent me the video of your push-ups. I was just like, oh shit, this chick's not fucking around. Like
Like, more
I was really,
time. It was
I was
crazy,
pumped
like
up.
circumstances, but I was like, pandemic. We got more time to focus on stuff.
Dude, exactly. I read so many books and did so many workouts. I know exactly what you mean. But I was blown away when you came back when we met in person again. And I was just like, oh my God, like, and obviously you were doing my program. I did write you a program, but like you obviously made some very significant nutritional changes and have maintained it for like what almost 5 years now. That's incredible.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, so much to talk about. Obviously, your work and your consistency. So, and yeah, that was a funny question, obviously, because it's like it was just a crapshoot. You could have been paired up with
That's all right.
anybody,
Yeah,
but it
but no,
works.
I stuck with it. I didn't meet you and be like, nah, I gotta go.
Yeah, yeah, no, exactly, yeah, and you'll actually can help me with this next one because my memory is a little bit foggy. Was there anything that almost prevented you from signing up? Whether it's fear, finances, lack of time, interest, etc.
um, Not really. I mean, yes, just like like I said, it was just kind of like it was an impulsive kind of decision, but like kind of the same way, like I said, of sticking with working with you, like just because it was like an impulsive, like spur of the moment, like I'm going to submit this thing right now. And then once it was done, someone reached out to me. And so I was like, all right, well, I'm not going to ignore them. So I kept responding. And then we set up the first appointment. And then, yeah, like scheduling, I think, because when we first started the job that I was at, I was super busy. And so, like, being able
Yes.
to work with scheduling and stuff like that was a concern, but figured it out really early mornings, basically, for a while.
Yeah.
Um,
And
yeah.
some late nights, right? We did some like 8
Yeah, some
p.m.
late nights
sessions, I
too.
think.
Yeah, thinking. Yeah, I think we did. We made it work, but it was good. Yeah,
Yeah.
flexibility for sure.
Yeah, no, it worked out great. And honestly, you're on a very short list of people that I would even entertain. Like if you just flew into Durham one day and you're like, dude, you want to work out at 8 p.m. It for you it would be a resounding hell yes. But for almost any other person would be like, no way, because so many
Yeah,
places don't even show, for that
yeah,
hour. So it's yeah. So and I feel like you signed up that first day
yeah. I
because
think so.
you were ready. You were like ready to roll, and you're smart. You kind of knew yourself, and you're like, listen, I need to make this decision. I need to do it right now, or I'm gonna like lose the nerve, or I'm gonna decide to do something else.
I'll
So
talk myself out of it, basically, like
exactly,
something
yeah,
stupid. So
exactly. No,
yeah.
and I'm the same way. If I decide upon something, I have to act immediately, or otherwise fear will kind of take over. Fear,
Hmm.
insecurity, doubt, all that stuff. So to go a little bit deeper, what ultimately made you pull the trigger and start working with me?
I mean, I just needed to get in shape, and I knew that I didn't really know what I was doing, and I needed somebody who did could kind of give me a plan, some guidance, and like adapt it to me, not just like following a random program, kind of just someone I could kind of have back and forth, get to know like what exactly I needed, what my goals were, and yeah, personalized seemed like a good investment in myself, and yeah, it's pretty. It's really simple when you like think about it, but at the
Mhm.
time it was a very big decision.
Yeah, no, it is. It is a big decision, especially when there's the initial like 3 month period, like obviously we were back at BSC, and then after that you can just decide to continue if you want to, or leave and go somewhere else. And yeah, but no, that's no, I love that answer. I think that's great. And I guess on top of that, do you feel like, and be honest here, don't if the answer is a no, that's totally fine. But do you feel like I communicated to you like confidently what we were going to do as far as like an overview of the plan? Do you feel like you felt pretty confident about it?
Yeah, for sure. I think you
Awesome.
communicated. That was one of the things that I actually really at the beginning like appreciated. You were very clear and made sure that like I understood, and if I didn't, I could like ask questions and whatever. And you didn't. Like I remember there was one time specifically you were like, I'm not gonna pretend to know stuff that I don't, and so like that was really reassuring. I guess that like I wasn't getting like tricked into like by someone who was like full of shit. Like you were very clear to be like I'm telling you like the plan that I've laid out is like based on like stuff that I've learned, and if there's something comes up that like you want to try, like I don't know, like I'll help you find someone that will is better suited for that, but like no like nonsense, no tricks, like just very clear, confident, educated, you know.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. So that was the first part of the questions was essentially like the build up, the
Okay,
pre, we were when we were doing our first assessment and everything. This part two is only two questions,
oh
but
man.
this is the during. So the
Okay,
first one is, what have been your biggest takeaways so far?
from training in general,
Yeah.
or like how like our training worked.
Hmm.
Like working with you specifically, I'd say biggest takeaways, for me was uh I don't know. Yeah, I guess just like sticking with the routine, being like consistent and just like honest with where like adaptable, kind of like there are some times where I feel like just like something is better than nothing. So like, you know, just trying to be maintaining more consistency was, I think, getting through the program helped me, like, I think, just stay consistent, which is, I think, the biggest thing for in general, like fitness. So like biggest takeaways for me, so like going forward for myself and for everybody, I'd say it's just like you gotta like having a schedule, having a routine, having someone who can like check in and stuff like that is, I'd say, probably my biggest takeaway. Um, yeah, that answer the question? I forget what you've asked me.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, I'm just being quiet to let you talk. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
totally think it did. And I definitely again, I know I've talked about like during the pandemic, you continue to make amazing gains. You know, I remember when you sent me, I still remember the text you sent me about you're like, all right, hey, I did the program, and obviously we were waiting on guidance from the local city state government and CDC. And then when you wanted to meet back in person, you're like, all right, let's kick it up to 3 times a week. Let's really kick some ass, because you were starting to really plan, obviously applying to the FBI and everything. So that was just when I knew right then and there you're definitely serious
yeah.
about this.
I
Which
think, yeah, another, I feel like my two takeaways I'll say is like, for me anyway, it doesn't always work for everybody, but the consistency and then having a goal of some kind that you can like work and measure towards. I think when we first started, we were gonna do the I forget what it's even called because I never ended up doing it because it didn't happen at the gym, but it was the something the test thing in the gym. It was like you did
the tactical
deadlifts
strength
and
challenge.
that thing. Yeah, I remember that was the first like goal kind of like inside the gym, and then it never happened. And then we started doing like um the simple and sinister stuff, and
Hmm.
then it was just like I separately was like my mild time, but all of these things were like smaller goals. My bigger goal obviously was getting in better shape, being able to like pass fitness tests type of things. But like small kind of milestones of like this is what we're training for, that helps, I think, with the consistency because it gives you something to like think about.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's a great way of putting it. The consistency, building out a routine, and then having a North Star, having a goal that you're
Yeah.
chasing after. I think that's really, yeah, that's great. I had forgotten about the TSC, and I'm so bummed out because we had like a little kind of a competition we were building up. It was going to be like Team Sean, Team DeMarco, Team Mike, and we were like, whose lifters do the best? And I was trying not to brag too much, but I was in my head, I'm thinking, well, Marissa's going to crush all your other lifters. So, um,
I don't
so,
know. I
but
guess
it
we'll
was,
never know.
yeah. So, but it was obviously really fun. But I think those are two great takeaways that you'll carry into your fitness journey for the many decades that it will continue on for. Lord willing, and the water don't rise, as they say down south, and obviously in your career and other aspirations that you have. What have been the biggest shifts that you have made in your own fitness, strength training, and health journey? Particularly talking about just like big aha moments and dynamic mental framework changes.
I don't know. What do you mean?
Well, I'll give you
Restate the question.
I'm gonna be a prosecutor for a second and give you a leading question. Hopefully,
Yes.
I don't get in trouble. No, I'm kidding. What shifts have you made in regards to like your confidence and your like self efficacy as a lifter in the gym?
No. Okay. Yeah. So like, I guess I'd just say like in general, it kind of you don't really think about it, but just over the course of like seeing like following a plan and seeing it kind of be effective, I think that's what gives you like a confidence change, like boosts like you're obviously like you're capable of doing stuff that you didn't used to be or didn't think you were able to do just by seeing the progress build. So um just from the start to finish, like every time you start a new cycle of something, I feel like it just boosts your confidence. Did for me. And I just lost my train of thought. I don't know. Oh, yeah, I guess just like as you know, see these small like successes every time you hit a new lift or something, like you just it's like a mood boost kind of like it's something to celebrate. So that in general, just I think positively impacts like the way you think. So it's all compounding effect type of thing. But yeah, definitely like it's not a conscious like decision to make a switch. You just like the effects of the training you for me, I guess, just without thinking about it, without focusing on it, it's just like I become more confident. Even things you don't like know how to do, you're like, I could probably do that if I tried. Like if I like, especially if you like working with someone who does know what they're doing, like just being able to follow a plan kind of gives you the confidence to be like, okay, well, if I came up with a plan, I could probably get to whatever that crazy seeming thing is, and so that's I think just like a representative of the confidence that you get.
Awesome. Yeah, and that's exactly what I was getting at, kind of getting into. So I love that. Yeah, no, I think your confidence completely like skyrocketed from because you accomplished a bunch of different goals, and we'll get to that in a moment. But I have literally told so many people that I've worked with, that I've talked to about training, like I've given them your highlight reel. And whenever I tell it to people, they just look at me and go, "Holy shit!" And I go, "Yeah." It is partially to brag about like my coaching and how I
Of
did
course.
as a coach, but more so to highlight your commitment to the program, your
Hmm.
consistency. Again, and I gave you, I don't think I gave you any nutritional coaching. I don't think I told you anything. You just
I think
made,
we talked about nutrition like on the first like meeting about like
yeah,
general like concepts of like nutrition,
yeah.
but we didn't really talk about it or like plan anything around it.
Oh, yeah. All right. So, Marissa, what tangible results did you
Hmm.
accomplish during our time training together?
Tangible results. Let's see. Well, to start, at the beginning, yeah, I couldn't do like anything that I wanted to be able to do. I couldn't like run a mile. I couldn't do pull ups, push ups. I don't really know strength wise what my like beginning would have been on like my big lifts, but um, over the course of our training together, I definitely like made a lot of progress there. I lost like 25% body fat. It's like around 50 pounds probably. And I went from like I couldn't, like I said, get through a mile without like trying to almost pass out. Had to stop a lot, and then I got down right around 6 minute mile. Deadlift 2.3 times my own body weight, which I still don't actually know how uh, strong that is, but
That's very strong. That's elite level strength.
yeah. Um, and I went from like no pull ups. I honestly like before we started training, I could barely like I couldn't hold my own body weight really for very long. I wouldn't be able to just hold onto a pull up bar. And then we got to like 6 or 7, 6.5 strict
Mhm.
pull ups. Um, what else did we do? We trained for a bunch of things. Yeah, strong first, the simple and sinister stuff, a lot of kettlebell stuff we did. I did that, completed that, which even that was challenging. I couldn't have been able to do anything with those kettlebell weights when we started, and ended up being able to swing them and Turkish get up weights that I couldn't even really do anything with to start with. So yeah, tangible results were strong, lean, fast. Yeah, that's it.
Strong, lean, fast. I like that. Special mention to your push-ups too, because you did go from 0 to
Oh
30,
yeah, I forgot
which
about
was
those. Wow, I don't know how to read.
also really awesome.
Yeah, push-ups. Forgot about this.
What internal mindset shifts have you made since we started working together?
Mm, yeah, internal mindset. I'd say just kind of the same thing. I think I said already, but basically, mindset shifts. I'm just like more confident, more um, like the mindset kind of like anything's better than nothing. Like I think before I'd get more easily discouraged if I was like I'm never gonna be able to do that. So what am I doing? But just like being able to make small steps towards stuff is I think a big mindset change now. Like even now my training is different, but it's still like sometimes just like taking like the smallest step of like all right I'm just gonna do like something really small, and then once you get going you're like oh, actually maybe I'll just do the full training that I was supposed to do that I didn't think I was going to do today. Like it kind of one of those things. Just like for sure, confidence in doing something. Small steps end up big results.
Small steps, big results. I love that.
My experience in general was great. Life changing, I one might say, because it really my life did change. Like just all the everything I kind of like learned, like I said, the confidence, the obvious fitness changes, things like that. But it was definitely a like full life transformation kind of, and um, a lot of that obviously is because of the training that you were programming for me, and um, how committed and like dialed in you were to my goals and like what getting me from point A to point B, and like checking in constantly on my program and how things are going, making tweaks as we needed to, based on how I was feeling, like on a specific day, just changing the programming for one day, changing like what we're doing, catering it to what I needed, and yeah, just the overall experience was great.
Awesome. Thank you.
Highly
Completely,
recommend.
I feel the same way. No, no, no. I feel the exact same way. It feels funny kind of asking these questions because we've obviously talked about this before. But it's funny where we're like getting it down formally, in a recording. But
Yeah, in like a coherent way.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how satisfied are you with the program that we did for the 2 years?
Yeah, a 10. What, 0 to 10? Is that what you said? Yeah,
Yeah.
10 being the greatest. I'd say it was 10. It was great. I don't know if I would say like I can't think of anything that I would have said would have been better if we done differently.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. If we have two more and then you're done. So
Sure.
thank you for doing this. If someone was considering working with me, what would you tell them?
Say if someone told me that they were going to start working with you, I'd say like that's a good move. Probably one of the best decisions I ever made. So I imagine it would be the same for everybody else. Like highly recommend. It will transform you, your life, and yeah, can't recommend you highly enough. So keep it short and sweet, I guess. But I would say that's yeah, working with you is definitely a good move.
Thank you so much. I appreciate those kind words.
Yeah.
And don't worry, that little
You
segment there
can
is great.
you can
You're
chop them all up and stick it into one thing. You'll be fine.
absolutely. And honestly, I don't know if my coach is going to watch this entire thing, but I'll give him the highlights and we'll obviously talk about that. So don't worry about that. It's better in the editing room. It's better to have more than less.
It's better to have four cuts of the same question.
Yes, yes. It's better to have that versus, oh damn, I wish they had said this. Or and that's one thing I've learned for podcasting is for me to not talk too much so that I let the guest or the person I'm talking to talk enough that we can get their coherent thoughts out. So that's great.
Yeah.
I have one last, oh, were you about to say something?
I was gonna say, well, I'm incoherent even when I say the full thing, so don't worry about that.
No, 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 no worries. That's fine. Well, it's just, I mean, I feel like we just developed that dynamic where you would show up, whether it was at the gym or at the garage or in my front yard or in the backyard or in the parking lot. It was like, hey, what's up? How you doing? How you feeling? And when we just went to work. I mean, it was just a
Yeah.
very like quiet. I mean, I know I've talked about like special forces all the time, but I mean it when I say it. Like they call themselves the quiet professionals in the U.S. Army Special Forces. It's very much like we're not going to brag or put on airs about what we're doing. We're just gonna get the job done. So
Mm.
that's one thing I always
Yeah.
loved about working with you. It's like, all right, cool. It's hard, cool. Let's do it, and
Yeah.
dust off and prepare for evac.
Yeah. Well, I will say for when we did our in-person training, that I definitely was one of the things that I liked and I think definitely suited or worked well for me. It was like I like trusted your programming, so I didn't really think about it. I would just like show up the days that we needed to show up and be like, all right, like I don't know what we're doing. It's like I don't even know 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. whatever time it was. I was just
Yeah.
like, I'm just gonna. You put something in front of me, and I was like, all right, I'm just gonna do this. So like it took, like I said, the thought and eliminates the opportunity of like getting overwhelmed or stressed or fear or whatever because I'm like, I almost don't even know what I'm doing next. I'm just gonna do whatever. Um, which was nice. When we did do remote stuff too. And obviously that element of it is not and it's not there because you're sending it to me, but it still was um like I said, took the thought planning out of it because you sent it to me and then you would text me and be like, how's it going? How was it? Checking in on me. Um
Yeah, no, and
but
thank
yeah,
you. Honestly, I think your biggest strength as a lifter, a kettlebell lifter, and I know for a fact also when you're at CrossFit and when you're working as an analyst in the FBI, like you don't overthink things. You just when a job has to be done, you just do it. And I think
yeah,
that's a great mindset to have. It's so easy to let yourself get bogged down by fear, doubt, distractions from everything coming at you in life. But I think I think it's a skill set you already had, and we just kind of
tapped
awakened it,
into it.
sharpened
Yeah.
it, and kind of tapped into it. So I think, yeah, I mean, it's just as much you as it was me. And I know this is really corny to say, but I say this to you and a few of I mean, I say this to all of my clients, but this has a deeper meaning for certain clients who have had a long-term relationship with. But I always say, like, you taught me more than I ever taught you. Then so true. I mean, I mean that 100%. More than you know. My last thing I have to ask you is there anything else that you'd like to add or say?
Um no, not really. I don't know. I feel like I've said a lot already, even when you didn't ask me to, so my answers were a little crazy, but no, just yeah, I training with you is great. Um, like I said, you sometimes were definitely more dedicated than I was, which I remember the day that we showed up to the garage to train the morning that your wife was gonna give birth. I was like, dude, what are we doing? I was like, let's go on the record here. I need her to know that this was not my idea.
Yeah.
So, yeah, whether you want to use that or not, that was crazy. But I appreciate it because I feel like that was definitely a example of you being really dedicated.
Yeah. Well, all right. In my defense, first off, yes, I did show up for a training session at 6 a.m. on the day my wife was going to give birth to our beautiful baby girl. However, number one, it was deadlift day. That's my favorite day of the week. But more importantly, it was a scheduled C-section. So, and we weren't going to the hospital until 9:30. And
Yeah,
honestly, when
9:30,
I
just like 2 hours later, it's fine.
it's fine. Yeah. And we don't have to talk about the fact that we were underground in the garage. It was definitely a dead zone. And if something went wrong, I would not have received the call. So for one
Yep.
hour, I was essentially, what do they call it? Outside the wire or something.
Yeah,
Um,
you're off the grid.
Off the grid. Yeah. Not my finest moment, but my mother-in-law was there. So I was like, hey,
Yeah,
so
it was great.
that was my last session before I fully became a father.
Yeah,
That was a
wasn't
life-changing moment for everybody.
wasn't just Nano after that.
That's right. Yeah, Nano's life changed a lot too. So it was crazy. Marissa, I really appreciate your time. This was amazing.
Yeah, of course.
I miss you. I know it sounds really weird to say that, but like
Oh
I
yeah, I
just
miss you
I
too.
miss hanging with you. If you ever find yourself in North Carolina, please call me, text me, let
For
me know.
sure.
And I definitely am planning on taking the family to Philly at some point to go do some Philly stuff. And when we're
Heck
there, we'll
yeah.
definitely hit you up. We'll have to go to the
Yeah,
gym, catch a lift. Vivi
for
can
sure.
hang on a pull-up bar with you.
Oh man, she's gonna
So,
be out lifting all of us soon.
oh, she's crazy. She'll get on there and
Superstar.
hang upside down like freaking Spider Girl. It's pretty
Heck yeah.
badass.
Heck yeah.